Hello and welcome to Adobe Live. So happy to have you here. We are with Caroline Sarrette today. Yay! We love to
Hi.
see it. Thank you so much for
Hi.
joining us. And
Hi.
also, just a little shout out to the chat. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our new Adobe Live channel on YouTube to stay up to date with the latest streams and participate in the Adobe Live community and so much more. You can also start your day with the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge hosted by Wade Ackoff every day, weekday at 9 a.m. Pacific. You can tune in and challenge yourself with a new prompt every day. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. We've already got a friend in the YouTube chat named Sarah. Thank you so much for being here. Caroline has said that this is your friend in real life, right?
Yes, it is. I think so. I mean, if that's my friend, yes. So hi, Sarah.
Yay, we love it. Oh, I'm so happy. All right, excellent. Caroline, thank you for being here. We would love to just have a chit chat with you and show off some of your work to start the day. So, what do
Sounds
you
good.
do? Who are you? And what are we going to be working on today? Throw it all at
Yeah,
you once.
so I'm gonna start sharing my screen to present myself.
You've got a whole presentation. You are an overachiever. Everybody's just very happy
Yes,
about that today.
I have my presentation already. I'm just gonna put myself on full screen mode. Hey, you guys, you can see this? Yeah, all
Yes,
good?
we can see it. Thank you so
Yes,
much. It looks
perfect.
so
Yeah,
professional. You're amazing.
thank you. Okay, so yes, my name is actually Caroline Claire, which is not common, but you can call me Caroline. That's totally fine. I'm a brand designer and an illustrator, and I started recently a studio called State of Play. I used to be full-time, project manager for 13 years. And I
Wow.
switched, yes, and I switched career, became a graphic designer, went back to school, Parsons School of Design. And, I put my portfolio up and basically just, bombarded agencies in New York and find my first like graphic design job. So I was, full-time employed for a while, and I actually just became freelance like a month and a half ago. So it's a brand new thing that's happening for me right now.
We love
Uh,
that. Yay.
Yay! it's
Congratulations.
it's tough. It's good, but it's rough. Like it's like, okay, um, where to find me? I'll just like walk through this really quickly. I have my website. You can find me at carolinesarrette.com. You can find me on Behance at like Caroline Sarrette as well. And then you can find me on Etsy. I actually have a shop as well at Caroline Sarrette Art. My portfolio really quickly. I am currently having an engagement with the Bronx Museum, and I'm doing like
Ooh.
large scale murals for them for their exhibit stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool gig. I cannot complain. And then I'm also doing exhibit catalogs for them. I did the first one, that's the one on the right there, and I'm working on another one right now. So that's, and the exhibits there are great because all the artists are local artists from the Bronx. So it's usually like, it's really great. I love the Bronx Museum. Um, then another one, these are work that I did for a friend of mine, and he does like live stream on a radio show called Make a Park Radio in Staten Island.
Wow.
And he wanted me to just design flyers for the shows, for his live streams. So all of last year, I was doing these flyers for him, like for every other Saturday, I think it was. So
These are beautiful.
thanks. That was actually really fun to work on those. I got to experiment a lot, and it was kind of like you have to do it because it's like it's happening. So you have to commit to it. It's not like one of
Hmm.
those passion projects that sometimes you end up sitting on. Or so that was a lot of fun. This is a branding work that I did. I did a logo actually for Mara Tolajan. She is a fashion designer. She does beautiful, beautiful clothes. And I really just did the logo for her, but I am currently working at building the typeface on Glyph because, I had a lot of fun working on that type, and I was it's a good, it's a good practice as well to like learn Glyph in the same time, and I'm sure she'll be able to use the phone later on. So I'm working on that right now. It's a big piece of work.
Wow.
And finally, this is another branding work that I am working on. Her name is Cersei. She does belts and embroidered belts.
Mm.
My friend, actually, Sarah Esmoa, that's in the chat right now, did the embroidery for the belts.
No
And then,
way.
yeah, yeah.
Collaborations. Love it.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, and basically, I did some art direction. I did the website for her. I did the logo, packaging, the whole shebang, like the whole branding part. Um, and I'm also the founder of the New York Design Club. And so the Design Club is a network of communities created by designers for designers. It started in Montreal, and then they opened chapters in Ottawa, Marseille, and then we're starting up in New York. You can see the little QR code here at the right corner, because we actually have our first event called, the theme actually is self-defining culture. It's an online event. It will happen on December 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if you snap your phone at the QR code, it will bring you to Eventbrite, so you can get tickets in case you're interested. And these are our speakers. They are amazing. There's going to be Sonny Bonnell at Moto New York City agency, Crystal Marshall, who works with Lauren Home in Detroit, Dina Ben Rahim, who worked for the University of Arkansas, but she is amazing. Like, all of her projects are rooted into her mission of like helping minorities and like unrepresented communities. And then there will be Jeremy Friend, who is a letterer and has an amazing background, which he will talk about during the event. So that's just like, this is the whole thing. So thank you for the self-promotion time. I'm done with that. We'll just move on to where you can find me on Instagram. I'm on Caroline Sarrette Designs, the New York Design Club, and the State of Play Studio, which is, my new studio that I just created.
Wow. So you got 3 separate accounts. How do you keep up with
Only
it?
only three. Only three. You know what?
Only 3,
It's not so bad. Not so bad. No,
All
yeah,
right, follow all of them.
it's a lot. Too much. Too much. But anyway, today's project, let's just dig in a little bit. I'm going to be designing a psychedelic poster. These are some of my inspiration for the poster. I just wanted to put these people up because they are the big influence in psychedelic posters in history. So there is Wes Wilson, Bonnie McLean, which I think passed like recently, I believe. Yeah. But amazing work. I mean, I'm like in love with what she does. And then there is Mishka Westel and Victor Moscoso, which is the one with the glasses there, which I totally love. I think like this thing is amazing. Anyway, so this is sort of like my inspiration board for the poster.
Love that.
And
Thank you so
then,
much for showing us.
yeah, of course. Yeah. And then, so I wanted to kind of walk you through a little bit of the process, since I'm not going to go through all of like the sketching part and everything, but I actually did this in my like as a preparation for it. So the one on the right hand side here is really me starting out with like thumbnails of like, how I was going to try and build out the layout, playing with some type that are sort of like psychedelic types, looking at a lot of references out there. We will go through Mr. Sunday, what Mr. Sunday is, but they have like the cutest logo. It's like a moon with like sunglasses, so it's like super cool.
Cute.
And I just wanted to make it like the star of the poster, but it has this hand-drawn feel to it. So my poster ended up being more vectorized, more clean. So it didn't quite work. So I ended up, trying multiple layouts. In the end, I ended up with the one that's there on the left-hand side. So that's going to be more of like the final sketch that we're going to be using. You can see at the bottom here that it's me just like working at the type and how I'm going to place it into the corners here and here. And then you can see, again, me trying out other types, like drawing out different style. And then these are my inspiration types that I use. So the one at the top here is very much Wes Wilson. It's like kind of blocky and bring all the letters together, and it's just separated with like simple, like it makes the letter out of just those lines,
right, the negative space.
Yeah, exactly. So that was very much his style. So I took inspiration of that, but I also took inspiration of the one below right here that has more of those curvy elements, and I actually brought that into my sketch. So this is me, that's the lettering that I did for that. And you can see how, well, there is those elements from Wes Wilson, but then I'm also doing like the curve here and kind of integrating the letters together. So yeah, so that's that. So
That
that's
is
what we're gonna be.
fascinating to see. That is awesome that you have it all laid out. And thank you for the description as well. It's so in depth, but like you did it concisely. Amazing.
Thank you, thank you. So we're gonna get started with Adobe Illustrator. I'm just gonna be, oh no, wait, I'm not in Illustrator. Here you go. Just gonna
Just while
start a
you
new
open
board.
that, I am so
Yeah.
sorry. On Behance, my chat wasn't loading at the beginning, so I didn't say hi to everyone immediately. But we've
Oh
got
yeah.
so many people saying hello. We've got Arby, we've got Ryan, Steven, we've got Wade, Jack Watson, who are both doing creative challenges today. Whoop whoop, love them. We've got Carol, we've got Izzy. Hey Izzy.
Hey,
We've
Izzy.
got so many friends in the chat. Wow, so many. And they just love the inspiration and the style of your posters and everything that you put like there to see for us. Everybody's just loving it.
Great. Thank you so much, everybody. Okay, so we're gonna get started because we have quite a lot of tracing work to do.
Yes.
So I just created an artboard and I did it really quickly, so I'll just kind of walk you through. I'm just gonna do an 8.5 by 11" right now. Because it's vector, it's all Illustrator, we can like scale it in and like up and down very easily. But just for the sake of like having a file that's not too heavy, I'm gonna start with a just standard size.
Sounds good.
Okay, yes. And then I'm gonna bring up my, oops, my sketches.
These are the sketches that you showed us before on the board.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
awesome. Mr. Sunday is just such a cool name too.
Yes, so I'm gonna actually walk you through what Mr. Sunday is because, if you don't live in New York, oops, no, not yet. If you don't live in New York, you might not really know what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. So you guys can see everything?
Mm-hmm.
All
Yep.
good?
Looks
Okay.
beautiful.
Okay, thank you. So Mr. Sunday is a dancing and like music event that happen every Sunday, starting from like May to mid-October. And
Wow.
it's like, yeah, so it's kind of electro. So it was created by two DJs, which we're gonna like talk about because they're right here. Their name is on the poster. And I've been living in New York for like 11 years, and every year I go religiously, at least, a couple of times in the summer, if not more. It's just a lot of fun. It gives me so much joy every time I go. It's a very, it's a very open event. Everyone is welcome, all ages. There is even one time someone brought his cat. At the beginning there are kids. I mean, it's like super weird, but in a really great way. So
Definitely.
yeah, so I just wanted to pay back and be like, you know what, I love those guys, I love what they're doing. I'm just gonna do a poster for them, why not? Since it's something I also really like. So I'm just gonna create another board here, and then I'm gonna lock those layers so that they don't move while I'm tracing. And then I'm just gonna create a new layer on top so that I can trace and then nothing will move and it's gonna be all good. So I'm gonna start tracing the main one, which is Mr. Sunday here.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just get going.
And it looks like you're going to be tracing it straight. On the poster, do you warp it into place when you're doing the diagonals?
Yes, you're correct. So for
Okay.
Mr. Sunday, I will be warping it using the envelope, the element on top. So I'll show you that. And then the other one, though, I'm not warping that at all. I'm just like literally tracing as they are on the
Nice.
poster. So, and that was more challenging than the straight one, but
Oh, I imagine.
yeah.
But I think
So
it's
yeah,
all challenging. So your brain works in mysterious ways to me, making it
yes.
all come together. Do you
Um,
always remember how people's names are spelled if you spent hours just trying to fit the letters together?
Uh, I mean, I have made mistakes where I'm doing it and then I realize and I'm like, oh no.
There's an I there. Darn
Yes, there
it.
was an H here. It's silent H. Who cares?
Right, it's
Uh,
fine. Right?
yes. So anyway, I'm gonna start like tracing things. So I don't know if you guys are super familiar with like the extreme point type of situation.
Some people are very experienced here and some people know nothing. So just feel free to add whatever tips and tricks you think you want to add.
Yes. So I'm not an expert. I wish I could say I am, but I am not an expert in extrema points. But usually the idea is, and let me zoom in a little more so that maybe we can see a little better. It's
Mhm.
good to go into the extreme points here when you trace so that you get a nice curve. And then you get your Bezier curve as well. A Bezier curve is always the fun part when you're tracing with the pen tool on Illustrator.
Mhm.
So you just go into the extrema points. So you go to like the points that are the most external and exterior point and internal point, if that makes any sense. I'm sure some people can explain this a lot better than me, but this is it.
We want your explanation, so it's perfect.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is, because there's going to be a lot of tracing, I'm not going to be like spending too much time on it being perfect, because there is a lot of refinement that we can do later on. Actually, I'm noticing that this didn't close the way I wanted. Here you go. Now it's
That's kind of
closed.
an important one, right? Is closing the whole thing.
Yes, absolutely. And for some reason, I just missed the dot.
Mhm.
There you go. So yes, so that's going to be a lot of me tracing, and then we're going to be like, cleaning up everything so that it looks kind of good, the way we want it.
By the way,
And
Izzy is saying, I've always been super intrigued to see Caroline's process. This will be a great treat. Aw, love that, Izzy.
yeah, thanks, Easy. So
And
Easy, oh,
oh
sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, I
No, no,
was
go
just
ahead.
gonna quickly slip in there that Carol said, I missed it. Is this a font or her tracing something old? This is a sketch that you did that was kind of using
Yes.
inspiration from different typefaces, right?
That's correct. It's an inspiration, and it's based on two typefaces, existing typefaces. And actually, the reason why I did it this way as well is because I don't know if you read the book. I mean, a lot of letter of anyone that wants to become a letter has this amazing book. Actually, I have it right here. It's from Ken Barber. It's like called Lettering Manual from
Ooh.
House Industries. And one tip he gives is to take two different typefaces and kind of merge their elements together. So take one element of each and kind of like, mix it up and see what you can
Mhm.
come up with. So you just focus on one element of each and then you just try and merge them together. And he said that's a very good exercise to actually practice lettering and coming up with your own letter, right? Because that's
For
kind
sure.
of the whole point as well. Um, and
Great
so that was sort
exercise.
of, yeah, great exercise. So I was just like kind of trying to do that. um,
Oh, you did it. It looks great.
yes, thank you so much. I was kind of I thought this one was nice. The other ones are so hard, but it was still a lot of fun to just like get it done. Um, yeah, so Easy is actually from the Ottawa Design Club. They had an event last night. Looks like it went really great.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
she's the reason why, actually, she's the reason why the New York Design Club got created. And she's been like a very supportive figure for me. So hi, Easy.
Yay. Izzy
Thanks,
says
Easy.
also, Caro, is your nickname? Caro?
Carol, yeah.
Your shirt is this emoji. Spot on. Amazing.
Ah,
Chef's kiss, perhaps?
this?
Yeah.
It's actually a dress from Zara from like years ago.
Oh,
Um,
really? Nice.
yeah,
We should get a
but
little fashion show
yes,
going.
yes. Thank you, Zara. Um, but yeah, so yeah, Easy has been great.
That's awesome. Hey, congratulations, Izzy. I mean, doing that kind of community building and creating events is so important for artists. I feel like it's just
Yes,
something that we all need. Community.
and you know what? It's actually a lot of work. Like I'm learning this as I'm doing it in New York, and as much as it's a lot of fun and like very rewarding, I'm sure it actually takes a hell of a lot of work. So,
Hmm.
but it's good. It's good.
Well, I'm grateful for everyone that is affected by it for you, because I
Thank
definitely
you.
know that it can be a thankless job, but it shouldn't be. It's something that's very important.
Yes.
Izzy says, "Oh, Adobe fashion show. I'm down."
Oh yeah. There you go.
Mm,
Let's do it easy.
definitely. By the way, Arby was having a little input about the program, saying tracing would be much easier if you change the stroke color or set the tracing element to lower opacity. Do you know about this?
Oh yes, it is that is correct. And I could have done it, in fact. Uh, I think yeah, it's good to like what he means is like to make this layer here, like change the opacity of this,
Okay, the
right?
bottom right. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I could do that.
It's
But
all
let me
up to
just
you, totally. He was just giving a
yeah, but it's
just a little
it's fair
suggestion.
game. Yes, totally. I appreciate the suggestion, and I think it is a fair suggestion. I actually did it before, and then of course, yes, I could change the color of the lines here. Usually, like magenta is a nice color to use. I'm just gonna stick with the black one here for now, but I think maybe it's nice to have it in the gray, like an opacity change here.
Whatever
Uh,
floats your boat,
thank
basically.
you. But
Mm.
yes, it is a good suggestion, and it's true. A lot of people do that. It does make sense.
It looks like
So,
Furtus is saying, "Ah, Ottawa Design Club moment." Thanks, Caro. Do you know
of
Furtus?
course, yes, I know Ferdas. What's up, Ferdas?
So
She was
cool.
uh, she was doing a great job last night at documenting everything that was happening at the event. I was following along on Instagram, and I believe she was the one behind the whole Instagram situation, which she
Nice.
did a great job. I could almost feel like I was there,
That's the
which yeah,
goal.
I wish that I was there, but
Well, Ottawa, that's a pretty significant chunk of space away from New York, right?
yeah, it's not so bad. The plan was for me to actually be there, but then the dates didn't quite work. So in the end, I couldn't be there. But I don't know. I think it's like by flight is probably like 2 hours or something, or maybe a little
Hmm.
more. I'm not so sure, but I'm it's not that bad. I actually did New York, Montreal by bus,
Oh,
like
really? How was that?
10 hours. That was awful.
Oh no. I
Yeah,
wanted
that
to
was
be like, it was a
no
grand
good.
adventure. Nope, it was awful.
It's actually not because I did it during the night and then you still have to pass
Oh,
the control, right? You still have to pass custom, but the way you pass custom is not like at the airport. I mean, custom is never fun no matter what, but
definitely.
this is a great design story. Me and my bus travel to Montreal. Um, so I'll just keep going
Hmm.
with Sunday. I wish it could be like, when you take those online courses like Domestika or Skillshare, they can actually really speed up the part where you're tracing everything.
Oh, like the time lapse of it. Oh,
Yeah.
it's
They're
so
just
easy.
like, yes, then it's like, perfect, that's done. There you go. Here's the poster. Beautiful. Thank you.
Exactly. It wasn't hours
It's
of work, painstakingly changing points and
mm-mm,
stuff.
easy peasy.
Although what I have learned from people who use things like pen tools and I don't know what to call this grouping of tools, something that you click and drag. They usually
That's
get
it.
into a groove at some point and they're like, oh, I just hit the points so much easier. And then you go back to the first letter and it's like, oh, this one like needs a lot of fixing and the last one didn't.
Yes, correct. I wish I was at that stage yet, but I'm not sure.
It looks like you're there to me, so you got it.
Yeah, so I learn, and it's a lot of practice to learn to use the pen tool correctly and properly, and especially when you do lettering, right? You have to place all the element in the right place. Um, and I learned with Jessica Hish. I think she is definitely like one of the reference out there. Like she has in her book, she explained her process, and it's quite it's quite amazing. So I learned a lot through her. But then there is a ton of like online tutorial where you can also learn on how to do this.
You're dropping a
If
bunch
you,
of hot book recommendations. I love it.
yeah, I don't remember the name of her book though. I'm so sorry. But
Well, we can
Jessica,
Google.
yes, Jessica is like she is badass. Like I think she worked with Louise Philly. I'm pretty sure she did. Um, and she just made a name for herself, you know?
Nice.
Yes.
By the way, Izzy says the hard work is all worth it after every event slash zine launch when you know connections and friendships are created because the community you are building, and it's the best feeling. Oh, I love that.
Yes. It's true. I believe that as well. I will see since we have the first event coming up. Like, we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely. I imagine it really pays off when you see people who are like, oh, yeah, we met at this event like 10 years ago and we've been friends ever since. And you're like, I made that happen.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. It's definitely a great way to meet people that you would never get a chance to really talk to, you know?
Definitely.
Um, Even like all the participants, I mean, these are people that I knew before, right? And because I followed them online and so on and so forth, but like I really never got to like, like interact with them. So it's actually pretty great to build up connection in that way as well.
Definitely.
Um,
Have you ever gotten like a job or opportunity from one of these meetings?
well, not yet because it's so new
Hmm.
for the New York Design Club that, we're barely known. Like it's officially launching for that event.
Yeah.
Um, so
Recent.
uh, yeah, so it's very recent, but at the end of the day, I'm also not really doing it necessary to get a job or whatever. Like
Oh, yeah.
it's not necessarily my end goal. Um, but it's we'll see what happens. So
Well,
there you
thank you so
go.
much for sharing that with us because I feel like those kind of things usually spread a lot by word of mouth and just hearing about them. I know for me,
Yes,
I would know half of the people in my industry if not for those events, so they are super important.
yes, absolutely. Did you go to Adobe Max, by the way?
Not this year, but I have in past years. I'm sad I missed this
Oh yeah.
year. Obviously, it's always like sad to not go because you're like, oh, my friends are having fun. But
Yes.
also 21 Pilots played, and I was like, oh, I love 21 Pilots. But
Ah!
anyways, you're a band lady, so I was thinking you might know.
Yes.
And yeah, have you ever gone to Adobe Max?
No, I have not, but my plan is to go next year for sure.
Yes,
It
let's get
was,
you a ticket.
yes, yes. It was difficult, when you work full time and all of that, to just find the time and get the days off.
It's a
But
lot.
if that I'm freelance, at least, I can I can have that time, I can take that time and actually like do it for me. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, I think
That's
easy
the
wins.
glory of
Oh,
freelance.
yes, it has to have its good side, right?
Oh, definitely.
Um, yeah. Are you freelance or
I
what's your
am, yeah. I have a weird
nice?
story history way of getting to freelance. I was an Adobe
Tell
Creative
us.
resident, so
Okay.
that's like a really unique program that set me up for becoming a freelance artist. And I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
an
yeah.
agent, so I work through them. I do children's book illustration,
Oh, that's
but
awesome.
the idea of going freelance, I was just wondering, like, for you, what was
Mhm.
your path there? Because I know mine's not usual.
Well, my path was well, I would just I was working full time, but I was getting a lot of like gigs
Hmm.
on the side, like with the Bronx Museum, for instance,
Yeah,
or
huge.
yeah, yeah, which I mean, like I could not pass on that. Yeah, that was just a great opportunity for me. So yeah, there was that, and then through my friend Sarah and some other opportunities, I just got some other clients that were also like needed my help. So I think, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, if you only have one client, I don't think well, at least for me, it felt like it wasn't a smart idea to just like with one client to move straight to like freelance, because you still need to well, you still need to, to pay the bills and all that stuff. So I was just like, this is not for one client, no. But then I managed to get like 3 to 4 clients, and I
Nice.
was still doing full time, and I was doing freelance, and I just got really, really exhausted. I just couldn't manage all of it in the same time. When you're like halfway in between each things, and you only do half of a good job because you're too, you're just like
Yeah,
everywhere, and it's just like very hard to focus. So eventually I was like, I need to quit my full time and give this like a fair shot and see where that will go.
definitely.
And I'm also like 40 years old, so I felt like it's a bad time, if I really want to do this, to just like to do it now and not like when I'm gonna be 50 or 60 or whatever. So
Right. I
um
never think there's a bad time, but I definitely, it
yeah,
feels very individual, don't you think? Like when you
very
figure
much.
it's the time.
Very much. Yes, it's a very personal feeling and experience. I mean, it all depends on what situation you're in, and like I think for me also the fact that I'm in New York somewhat helps, like there are opportunities in New York, and you just have to put the word out. And I mean, well, we'll see, because it's only been a month and a half, so like it's not like I might just fail miserably in the end, and we'll see. Hopefully not, but we will
I
see.
don't see that happening, but you never know. That's the joy of freelance. It
Yes,
can go
exactly.
wonderfully horrible or horribly wonderful.
Yes, there is the good months and the bad months for what I've heard. So so far so good, but we will see.
Definitely.
Um, so I'm done tracing the Mr. Sunday part.
Love
Yay!
it. It looks gorgeous.
Thank you. Um, but I need to refine that a little bit,
Nudge
because
the
it's not.
vertex or whatever they call
Yes.
them. Sorry, I'm not as familiar with Illustrator.
Oh. But yeah, I need to like, I like when I can get a little bit like, how do you say? I'm not gonna find the word now. When you want everything to be perfect, like when
Yeah,
you want it. Anyway,
controlling of
so
every little bit.
yes, I think as a designer, you do have to have that like, I wouldn't call it a quality. See, I don't think it's necessary. Well, it's not a bad thing to have,
Think
but
it's advertised as like attention to detail.
attention to detail. Exactly. When every time I read that in a job description, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, shoot, I have to have attention to detail. I don't know. I don't know. I have it sometimes, but sometimes I don't. So, like sometimes it's like when it's for my stuff, I do, but sometimes when it's like not, I'm like a little bit, I don't know. I shouldn't say that, but um but yes. So just gonna be refining stuff here.
By the way, we've got a question from Janet over on YouTube who is wondering where you
Mhm.
sketched this. What program did you use?
So I sketch pen on paper originally.
Mm,
Yes,
the
definitely
oldest
sketch on
program in
paper.
the book.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Um, I don't know. I feel like I have somewhat more control over pencil on paper, even though I use the eraser probably too much. But it's still the best way for me at this point to actually come up with something. And then eventually I can refine it. So to refine it, I would usually go in Illustrator, sorry, I would go into Photoshop to refine my sketches. But I like the the type or the letters to be already kind of nice and clean on paper,
Hmm.
because then once you bring it to digitalize it's probably better that way. It's just allow for a cleaner tracing once you're on Illustrator. um but yes, so the process is paper, Photoshop, and Illustrator.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
Illustrator also creates vectors of these, so you could size it up, size it down, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes,
love
everything.
it.
That's why I like to work with Illustrator for stuff like this. For letters, it makes
Hmm.
sense to me. You need to be able, especially when you're doing posters, and then you want to sell your posters online. It's good to have the flexibility to like resize stuff. in an
Definitely.
easy, in an easy way. So yeah.
Have you ever reused any of the letters from one to the next where you're like, oh, this kind of fits. I could just use these and recycle?
Yes, I mean, in that case, my S is actually in some ways a recycle.
Oh,
But because I'm retracing it anyway, it'll be a slightly different plan from the one up top. But
true.
yes, I have done that, which, I don't know. Some people are against doing that. It's like it's almost like it's cheating. It depends it depends the end result, what you really wanna have. But I think, like these letters are like Loki's query thing anyway. So I feel like, I can get away with it. Um, yeah.
Nice. Oh, by the way, Izzy is asking, is it the Jessica Hish book, is it called In Progress?
Yes. Yes. Thank
Nice.
you, Easy.
Thank you, Izzy.
Yes, it is. It is exactly that one. And I love it because the whole book is about her, how she got to become a letter and illustrator. But she has just one chapter on like using the pen tool and how she uses it, the different, tricks that she uses. Uh, sorry. And so it's not the focus of the book, but the way she explained it, really, it kind of opened my eyes. I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then there is also Martina Floor, who's done classes on Skillshare, and I think she also has a class on Domestika, because Domestika is more like for Spanish speaking people. I mean, they have
Mhm.
English and any language. In fact, they have like teachers from everywhere. But I think it was primarily more for like the Hispanic market,
Mhm.
I want to say.
Nice.
Um, yeah, which was cool. So I love the Domestika classes, so I would take them. But then it was all in Spanish, so I put the subtitles. The
Mhm.
subtitles were so off sometimes. It was actually really, really
Oh,
funny. No, but it's fine. It's fine. You
like in a
you can
goofy way.
yeah, in a goofy where you're like, yeah, I don't think you meant to say that here, but that's fine. Um, but anyway, so yeah, Martina Flor also. So she has this book. I cannot remember the name of the book, but she has this really great book where she takes you through the entire process, from like sketching on paper to use like tracing paper to retrace on top of it, and then bring it into the computer, digitalize everything. So these are my oops, no, my lettering stars.
I love that. Yeah, so you can have full creation, like control, I guess it is. That you get to make it from
Yes.
traditional to digital, which
Yes,
we get a lot
exactly.
of
So,
questions about. So thank you so much for answering that.
yeah, of course, no
Also, we've
problem.
got a cue from Robert in chat saying, Caroline, do you know something about Floyd Bennett Field at Jamaica Bay?
I
uh,
do, I do, I do not.
Camo Gateway, Brooklyn Tamarack, and Goldenrod. I have no idea.
I
But
don't know.
it sounds like a code, Robert. What is this? And Alessandra is saying, are you originally from New York? And how was the process for you living in New York?
No, so I'm originally from France. Um, I'm sure you guys picked up on the accent, but it's always tricky, right? I could be from Belgium, I could be from other places, but I'm actually from France. I'm from the east of France, uh, an area called, well, my city is called Besançon, which most people don't know because it's a small town.
Mhm.
But it's gorgeous, beautiful. I love my town. It's like super, super nice. It's like, when I was a teenager and used to live there, I kind of despised it. I was like, it's like there's nothing here. It's so boring and whatever. Like, and you don't appreciate it for what it is. But now that I live in New York and I'm never there anymore, other than when I just travel to visit my family, I come back home and I'm like, my God, it's so cute here. What was I
Oh,
thinking?
do you ever see yourself going back?
Um, I'm gonna say sadly, maybe when I retire,
Hmm.
but for opportunities and stuff, I'm not saying that you cannot build your own opportunities, even in a small town like Besançon, I'm sure you can, but not quite yet.
Yeah.
It's like I like things to move. I like when things happens around me, and I find New York very inspiring as a city, even though it's crazy. And yeah, it's nuts to live here. Like sometimes I'm like, I have a problem. I have an issue. Like I love it here. How come I love it here? Like,
Like, what's wrong with me?
what's wrong with me?
I think a lot of people like New York. That's why they're all there.
Yeah, exactly. We're all coming together really in a very cozy small apartment, and we
Yeah,
pay a lot of money for it. So it's great. Sounds like the dream, right?
not the
Um
money part, but yeah.
and the small apartment. And
Oh,
no, yeah. There is many things about New York that's like, okay. But there is also really great stuff about it. So there you go. But yeah, I've been here like 11 years, which is, crazy. I didn't think I would come here for 11 years. But what happened is I was in my hometown. Then I moved to Ireland for 4 years. I was in Dublin for 4 years. And then I moved to London for 3. And then my company in London actually transferred me to New York City.
wow, you've
And
been all over.
I like, yeah, these are all good cities as well, like I can't complain. Like Dublin was cool. It's cold and rainy, but it's cool. Irish people are really lovely. I really, and that's where I learned English. So that was also nice. It was human size, and like a lot of drinking beer and, Guinness. And then, and then
Beer and English, that's what Ireland gave you.
Yes, exactly. And then I went to London, and London was also pretty dope. I really, really love living in London. It was so much fun. Anyway, I'm not designing anymore, but I just stopped here, just talking about, stuff. Um, I just wanted to show you something here. I mean, I'm sure nothing new to people who use Adobe programs, but like one of my favorite tool in the world is the Pathfinder. Thank you, Pathfinder. Um, and then so I created this shape in the D, right? And so I just want to minus it. So then it start like showing my little shapes here.
Nice. Ooh, that's so satisfying.
It's so satisfying. The Pathfinder is the best. Okay, so I'm done with like the main type. So we're
Woo!
gonna be, yay! But brace yourself, guys. There is definitely more tracing coming up. So,
Woohoo!
yippee! Yay! And this is even more tricky because those letters are even smaller. So,
Hmm.
yes, 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 yes. So, yeah, let's talk about stuff because we're going to be stuck here for a while.
Okay, excellent. We gotta love having like just a little. Oh yeah, it's filled now.
Oh,
You
it's
don't like it
okay.
like
So,
that?
yeah,
Yeah,
when it's filled, no, I feel like then at some point I cannot see my lines anymore. And it
totally
and it buzzes me a lot.
reaches
I mean, I
over.
could, oh, sorry. I could also go into like the outline mode. That's the other thing that you can do if you want to see all your tracing nice but I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, follow your bliss. Izzy says
Exactly.
Pathfinder is my best friend. And hey,
Pathfinder
we've
is
got
the
one of my friends, Rin, is in the chat. Hi Rin, what's up? And
Hi.
also Alessandra is saying, I'm part French too. I knew it.
Nice.
Well, I can tell my cousins speak
Yay.
the same way. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's hard to
Yes.
hide. I mean, I have those friends that manage to lose their French accent when they speak.
Oh,
And
really?
I'm really amazed by that skill. I'm like, how did you do that? Because it's been a long time that I'm not living in France anymore, but my accent is still like there and it's still strong.
Yeah, it's how
So,
you speak. I feel like,
yes.
I don't know, everybody has their own way, and I love accents. There's just something so wonderful about accents, but I also am a big fan of like voice acting and like seeing people become other people, and accents is a huge part of that. To just become like, oh yes, it sounds like you came from France, but like you just practiced, you know?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Also, Furtis
Um,
is saying
mhm.
Guinness is and English. Haha, sounds like an amazing combo. You know,
Oh, yes.
you're like trying to learn one of the weirdest languages and
Well,
also having Guinness.
I have to say the Guinness helped with the language.
No way, you think so?
Yeah, because after a few beers, you're like, okay, I can do this. No worries. Let me just say whatever. Oh,
It's your,
okay.
not your. It's there, not there.
Yes, I know my grammar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ah,
Oh, so difficult. I still haven't learned a second language yet. It's one of my goals, but definitely it's amazing. People who can speak multiple languages, your brains are just magic. So, congratulations for being magic.
It is a nice thing, you know, and it's also the way you incorporate the culture of the country once you can actually
Mm,
understand, you know, idioms and speak with, you know, locals and whatever. It actually helps like really grasping more of like their culture in general. Um,
absolutely.
you know, like when I moved to Ireland or even England, because I mean it's still Europe, but ultimately, it's still a different culture, right? People don't live the same way as we live in France, and
Hmm.
and and the biggest one I had was when I moved to the States. It's still a it's very different culture from like Europe,
Hmm.
and it took a little while to like to find your bearings, you know, and actually incorporate that into your vocabulary. But
Definitely.
it's you know, but it's great. Like once you get it, you start getting the jokes and everything. You're like, okay, I get you. That's
Yes,
funny.
jokes bring
Yes,
humanity together. But
yes,
that is
yes.
such a
So
strength of actually living in the places that you're learning languages from. It's
yes,
immersion is just the best way, and absolutely with culture, there's no other way to really understand. So awesome. Love that.
yeah, yeah. It's been good. But now that I'm here, honestly, like I don't. At some point, you also have to like stop somewhere, right? Because if you keep moving, you have to restart from scratch every time. And like I did it like
Hmm.
4 times, well, 3 times. And I was just like, yeah, I'm a bit tired. I'm just gonna make a bunch of friends here and I'm gonna stick around for a while.
You're gonna make a club and you're gonna
Yeah,
have
I'm gonna
fun.
make a club. I'm gonna make a design club. Of course. That
Just
makes sense.
advertise for a massive museum and like everything and
Yeah,
be
yeah,
a part
meet
of the music
people,
scene.
see what's up. Yeah, exactly.
I have to say, because of the retro inspiration and you living in New York, you just need to meet Ryan Selvey. Have you ever heard of him?
I have not.
He is a regular here on Adobe and was part of the Behance team as well. And he is all about retro design and does a lot of motion graphics. And I just think you
Nice.
guys would get along very well.
Yes, I mean, I want to know that person for
Definitely.
sure.
I think he would be very into the New York Design Club.
Nice. Oh, you have to send me his name again.
Yeah, totally. I never expect anybody to remember something I just said. Just offhand.
No, that sounds lovely. I mean, I'm also on board. Does he live in New York?
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Ah, perfect. Yes,
Actually,
introduce.
sorry, I don't mean to plug Ryan the whole time, but
Oh,
his holiday special is coming up on December 14th. He does
no.
a
Oh.
whole like variety show with a bunch of his friends, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the people here on Behance also participate, where they send in like a clip of something or something that they made, and he also in his tiny New York apartment has a bunch of creative friends come in and say like, tell stories, sing songs, all sorts of fun stuff. So
Wow.
tune in on December 14th.
Sounds like my kind of guy. I'm like, yeah,
Absolutely.
sounds good.
I'll have to send you a link when that's happening because like yeah, you don't want to miss it. It's quite the event.
Okay, yes, please send my way. Like, I'd love to see that for sure. Um,
Definitely.
do you know where he's in New York? Do you know if he's like in Brooklyn or Manhattan
I
or
believe Brooklyn area, but don't quote me on that.
no worries.
But yeah, even Paco's giving thumbs up to Ryan in the chat. He says tons of production value
Nice.
goes into that Christmas special. So fun. Paco, you should do a segment. That would be so cool. Oh, I'd love to see it. But yeah,
Yes,
the
Paco, go for it. Sorry.
the idea of like community and finding your people, did you feel like there was a moment when you were like, oh yeah, I'm part of the New York design people or anything like that when you moved?
Uh, no, when I moved, no, because I was a project manager for a very long time. And
Yes.
so when I moved here, I was project manager, right? So I was in e-commerce. And you know, I wasn't part of the design teams. I would work with designers, but I would also work with developers. I was the middleman, right, between the client and my internal team. Um, and so I didn't feel this way, you know, because I was not a designer. And once I became a designer, I don't know. Because I only went to school for 2 years and I only took a certificate. I made some friends at the school, right? But
Hmm.
not that many sticked around. And I always have a hard time like finding more creative friends, which is
Hmm.
weird because there are so many designers nowadays. Like I should have plenty of designer friends, but I have a few, but definitely not enough. At least I'm sure my boyfriend would say you don't have enough designer friends that you can nerd out with. Because
Hmm.
I'm always kind of like, look, I did this today. I just used that tool and that was so great. And he's just like,
Like, not my thing.
yeah, like, okay, great.
It
No,
hits different when somebody knows what you're talking about. I totally get that.
he's very supportive, but I'm sure sometimes like I'm just like, annoying him with all my design stuff. And I'm like, I just need designer friends to like talk to.
Oh, it's so
So
cute. Like,
So
I
now
need
I
it.
have, yes, I need my designer friends. So now I have Easy I can talk to. So I do that. I talk to her. I'm like, hey, Easy, like, what's up, girl? Um, Even though she's not in New York, but it's like if she was. I think I
Definitely.
think I think Easy is like a deep inside New Yorker,
Like in
you
your
know,
soul, Izzy, do you feel a
like
little
her
New York in
soul.
there? Just a little
I,
bit.
I would say so. She definitely has the rage for it, you know.
I was gonna say, you have an easy way into Canada as well because you speak French, and that's one of the things that they always look for in French Canada.
Yes, yes, I do have that, which, it's good to have. Um, yeah, I love going to Montreal and spend time there. Actually, Montreal is a lot of fun. And also Toronto when you go, like when it's nice weather, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very different what time of year you go. Oh, and
Yeah, exactly.
Furtis is saying, "Oh, we're your designer friends now. Don't worry."
Yes. Thank you guys. I'm happy I found you. And my boyfriend specifically is happy that I found you.
Oh, Izzy, by the way, is saying it's crazy because Caro and I met on Adobe Live. No way. That's so
Yes,
cute.
yes, yes. We did meet on it. That's correct.
Was
She
that,
actually did. Oh, sorry.
oh, no, just I want to know more about it. How did you make that happen?
She was doing I'm not gonna remember the word. When you check out the profile of someone at the end of the second,
Yes, the artist spotlight.
the artist spotlight, sorry. And
Oh,
so
no, you're good.
she was doing this, and I was the one that she was like reviewing.
That's so
And
cool.
yes, and I had no idea this was taking place, right? I just didn't know. And someone started talking to me on Instagram, someone I didn't even know. It was like, oh, I saw your profile on on Behance, and that was so cool. Like, yay. And I was just like, what are you talking about, bro? And then I went to check.
Just so confused.
So
Like, what?
I was super confused. But then I went and checked and I was like, oh wow, someone actually they reviewed my stuff. That's awesome. And then so Easy was reviewing with like the guest of the day, the guest at the time. And then I just reached out to both of them and I was just like, yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I'm so sorry, like I had no idea this was happening. So but thanks. And then Easy and I just started chatting, and we're just like we just shoot the crap and it was just a lot of fun and we just talked for like more than an hour. And I was like, this chick is cool. I like
Yes.
her. And then then we talked about the club some more and I was just like, you know what about New York? We can use another club in New York. Um so
Wow,
yeah,
so
that's
that's how
how it
this
all
all
started.
started.
Yes. So it's thanks to Adobe. Thank you, Adobe.
Shout out Adobe Live. Woo!
Shout out Adobe Live. Good
Speaking
job.
of which, there's a new Adobe Live channel on YouTube. You should definitely give it a subscribe. And also, Izzy says, I wish to be a New Yorker. Izzy, do you need to come down? Is it time? Become the New Yorker you always wanted to be.
I think it's time.
I think Caro needs a little help with the club, It's
Oh my God.
time.
So much. She's been helping me out so much. She's been like a lifesaver.
Oh, she's saying, "Oh, so much love today. Stop, stop."
Oh, I can't stop. You know I love you.
And another thing about Izzy, no. So you touched briefly on your schooling. Can you tell me more about that?
On my schooling, you mean like the design school?
Yeah, how did you? Well,
Oh
first of
yeah.
all, what was the idea of you were a project manager? What made you want to jump into design?
I think the fact that I was a project manager made me want to jump to design
Really?
because yeah, I was like, oh my God, my life sucked. Uh,
I'm so sorry.
you
Darn.
know, it's like, yeah, no, I'm exaggerating. I'm dramatic. No, it just it was really, I did it for 13 years and it was just like kind of time to move on and just like do something new. And honestly, I wanted to do it for a very, very long time. I think I just took the wrong turn when I was 18, 20, like I did not know what to do. I was not born with a pen in my hand, or a pencil in my hand drawing like some kids. And for these kids, it's so obvious. It's like, oh, that's what you need to do. You need to go to art school and become that. But for me, it wasn't obvious at all. And I didn't really like anything, to be honest. Dancing, I love dancing, and that was pretty much it. And my parents were pretty desperate, to be honest. And I
Mhm.
understand them now that I'm looking back on it. I'm like, damn, I gave them a hard time. But anyway, when I was like when I was like 18, 20, I didn't know what to do. So I ended up going to business school, or like, business school, I guess. And then university where you would learn business and management, because we again didn't really know what I was good for.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, that's
and
such a sad way to put it. What was I good
oh,
for?
dramatic again. Uh, but yeah, but then you know what? When I was in Ireland, I started using Photoshop. So that's way back. Like that's what, like 20 years ago. I was
Mm.
using like Photoshop, and I was playing with the like photography and how to retouch like photos and add filters. And I was like, oh, this is so cool that you can do that. And
Nice.
I took a taste for it. I was just like, this is actually awesome. But then by the time I did this, I was already finishing my master's in business. And I was, about to,
Masters. Wow.
yes, and I was about to start a new job, like a job in business. I was going to be, like an account manager, or like the junior account manager, like starting out, right?
Hmm.
Um, and, I already had spent and invested so much time into that degree or that master, that I was just like, okay, I'm gonna stick around with it and see for a while. But then the problem is, you stick around with something and then it's very hard to get away from it. But
Mm.
you start making good money. You're like, oh, and it's like you learn tons of stuff. Like I've learned so much stuff when I was doing that. So it was, in that sense, it was great. But eventually I was like, I need to go into design, like, because I was feeling very frustrated a lot, because on the side I would be designing, I would be taking classes at SVA, I would be like continuing education, right? Like I would be taking classes and like learning about how to create brands and all that stuff. And eventually I was like, okay, you know what? That's enough time wasted. Let's just go back to school and actually do that stuff. So as I was doing my full time still as a project manager, I went back to school, and then so I went back to the Parsons School of Design at the New School in New York.
Wow.
Um,
That's a very
and I
prestigious school, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's a good school. Definitely prestigious, yes. And then I just I just took a certificate. So again, like, it was not an MFA, it was not a BFA, or like, I'm not exactly sure the difference of those programs, but like it was nothing like that. It was just a certificate. But I was just like, you know what, it will give me enough to get started, and I can just learn more stuff on the side by myself.
Hmm.
And also the cost of it, like it costs money. So I finished that side here.
Yay!
Yay!
We love to see it. Great job, by the way. We're all following along and just loving the tracing and seeing it all come to life. It's very satisfying.
Yes, sorry, I know it's a lot of tracing, which might not be the most exciting thing to watch, but
It's
there you
how
go.
it
I
gets
just
made. This is the part
have
that
to
we're here for.
have to go through the process. And then
Definitely.
so yeah. So as I said, so I took my certificate as I was doing my full time. Oops, no. I have to tell you, it was a mission. It was late nights. but I was still like in my early 30s at the time. So it wasn't all that bad. I had the energy to do this. I felt pretty strong and I was so motivated. I was so like ready to make the jump that I was just like, I would consider myself like so lucky. But then, the other interesting thing that happened is that as a project manager with like 12 experience under my belt, I was making a good living. And then when I started, I became a designer, I went back down the whole thing again. So
Yep.
I went all the way back down. And so for about like 2 to 3 years of my life, I had to readjust things accordingly. So, like getting like an apartment for with cheaper rent and like trying to make months ends, it was like a challenge.
For sure.
Especially when you're like in your mid 30s, it's like you see
Yeah,
all your
just
friends.
rearrange your life for a totally different
Yeah.
income and make
Yeah,
it work.
totally make it work. And so yeah, but you know what? I took that challenge as a great thing. I was just like, that's good. I was spending too much money anyway. I need to be more cautious and mindful about money. So that actually was a good life lesson in the end. I was just like, this is great. I'm
Oh,
glad I
I
did
love that
this.
you take that like as a positive thing. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I needed. And I was like being fed by design. I was just like, I'm having so much fun here. This is
Oh,
fine.
your
Yeah,
soul is
so
finally happy. You're like, I'm doing something I want to do.
yes, yes. I
Oh,
am. I am. It's so great. Like I have no regrets to make the jump and switch career, That was the best decision I could make for myself.
that
So
is fantastic. I think that's a wonderful lesson to take away as well as just for anybody like choosing your own happiness as an investment in you rather than in your bank account. Pretty amazing.
yes, yes.
Although I wish that every design job paid adequately so you could get paid a lot.
Yeah, so you also have that side of it. That'd be nice, right? But
Definitely.
I think you can make it happen. I mean, it just takes time and experience. But that's also the reason why I wanted to go freelance. Because when you are in a company, you end up doing similar things. Like if you work for a company, it's like a lot of, let's say, social media stuff, and that, after a while, it's like, okay, I got it. Like I know how to do this. That's fine, but I want to be doing other things. I want to touch on many. Well, personally, I like to touch on many things. I don't like to I don't like to be bored doing the same repetitive task all over and over again. It's not
As
how
you
I
trace 5
strive.
million letters, but
Yeah, exactly. This is just not what I like to do. Uh, Actually, you know what? See ya, guys. I'm done. Bye.
Yeah, like I'm
Uh,
gonna go get another career.
um, no, but you see what I mean? Like in the job, you would be redoing like similar stuff.
Absolutely.
And as a freelancer, I feel like at least I have the freedom to just pick on the project. I mean, I don't always have a choice, but it's like I can do many things. Like I've done logo development since I started. I've been designing a catalog. So I've been doing print, I've been doing branding, I've been doing photo retouching for my online client. So I really get to touch on many different things in social media stuff as well. So for me, it's like it makes sense and it doesn't, I feel like the day is not boring. I'm like, hey, I did so many different things today. That's cool.
Definitely.
So yeah.
I love that. I love that for you, especially. I feel like that is something that you deserve after all those years of working jobs that you didn't want to. And I know that
Yeah.
a lot of us have that experience. It seems like a huge amount of designers of different, all different mediums and stuff. They come from a place that they didn't want to be necessarily. And I want to think that's probably because of the way our society kind of trains people to say, oh yeah, I have to be this, when you come out of
Yes.
school or whatever, and you're just like, oh, get a job, do a thing. And it doesn't leave enough room for you to be like, what do I actually want to make? And sometimes, I
Yes.
mean, it's not necessarily just that you have to do it at that time. Sometimes it's the perfect time when you're whatever age to find out, actually, I want to do this. I want to follow this
Yeah,
path.
totally. I mean, I think that's fine. And like the thing is, sometimes I look back on my experience and I'm like, I wasted so much time by being a project manager for so many years. I could have just jumped into design. The landscape at the time when I started working was so different from the landscape now that I probably would have, accomplished stuff or different stuff, or jumped the Instagram wave when it was still like a place where you could get discovered or whatever. But then I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to rewrite my history. And also, I think what I've learned as a project manager was actually very valuable for even having my business now, right? Like, I know how to deal with deadline, how to deal with client, I know how to deal with budget, I know how to deal with a lot of stuff that, if I had never done that, maybe I wouldn't be as comfortable doing it today. So
Exactly. Claps for that.
I have no regret. Yes.
You never
no
know
regrets.
how you could have gotten here. And hey, as long as you're here, we are glad to have you. And it's something that takes time to get to. I remember hearing about I feel like a lot of different classes have touched on this idea that your artwork is a culmination of you in so many ways. And if you were creating it earlier or later or whatever, you would just create different work. It's not necessarily that you're like, oh, if I had made this work 5 years ago, well, 5 years ago, you wouldn't have made this work.
Yeah, exactly. That is, I believe that is very true. It evolves all the time. And like you read a lot, like find your style and find your voice and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I don't know. This is my voice today. I don't even know if I have a voice, but if I have one, I'd say this is the one I have today. And I'll have another one tomorrow, probably. I'm not going to stick around doing the same thing for the rest of my life. Like, I'm going to want to evolve and move and, progress or
that's kind of the nature of artists, right? It's like you got to change or else you're going to feel that stagnation again. You don't want to be in that place.
You don't want to be in that place. The comfort zone is actually the red zone.
Exactly. Right on the edge, just on the verge.
Just, like, oh no.
That's why I feel like we can deal with freelance situations where it's just like a little bit of chaos, just a little bit. It's good.
Just enough to keep you on your toes. So, exactly. Oh no. Yeah, no, it's true. So yeah, but it's true. Like as a designer or an artist, and especially after I made the move that I made, I have no intention of staying bored, in my career. Like I just want to try many different things, and I probably will fail once in a while, but that's okay. It's part of the process, and it's all good.
Fail more often, right? Isn't that the thing? You want more failures, so you'll learn more.
Yes, exactly. I feel like I've learned tons for the past few years.
Yup.
A lot of failures. No, every time you work on like a poster or something and it looks like a 5 years old could have done a better job, you're like, okay, great.
That's an amazing 5-year-old. No.
It's like, no, seriously, like some 5 years old are like kick ass. I'm like, sometimes I look at my work and I'm like, oh God, okay.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir here. I work in children's books, which means that a lot of the styles that I love are like naive styles, and literally it's like, oh, that kid really nailed it. And I'm trying to copy their work and like understand, how did this random line really add to the texture, and like, oh yeah,
how did you do that, kiddo?
It's called crayons.
Give me your tips.
Crayons and chaos.
Oh, here you go. We helped you, like crayons. We love crayons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love your work. Like I'm very impressed with your work. I could not be doing that. I'm like, I don't have it. It takes a lot of drawing skills, no? I feel like it's a lot of drawing skills.
I mean, everything you can do. I am a staunch believer that literally anybody can get anywhere they want to be. It just takes time and not quitting. But yeah, it is. I've definitely invested all my skill points into illustration. I tried lettering one time, actually. Shauna Parmesan, actually, one of our regulars here on Adobe Live as well. She had a lettering class that I took, and I loved it, and I felt like I learned so much from it. But it definitely taught me, like, I am not naturally adept at lettering at all.
Yeah,
it's a whole different part of the brain. It's amazing.
But that's and that's okay. I think it's okay to try stuff. You have to try stuff to know if that's your thing or if it's not your thing,
Absolutely.
That makes sense. But yeah, I mean, like the work that you do is fascinating.
Thank you.
Cute, beautiful. I love it.
By the way,
Oh,
A
sorry.
lot of
Go ahead.
people are saying your work is amazing in the chat. Izzy is saying it's looking
Oh,
so good. Fergus is saying, I
thank
personally
you.
love watching tracing videos, so meditative. And Rin says, yes, love your work today, Caroline. The retro vibes are so lovely to see. I think the retro
Thank
vibes are
you.
amazing as well. Yes.
Thank you. I like the retro stuff. Yes, to retro. Let's all be retro. I'm an 80s kid. Of course, we like retro.
I feel like this is more 70s though, isn't it?
This,
Or do you
yes.
know?
Sorry, yes. No, definitely, yes. It would be
Okay.
more 70s for sure. For sure.
I'm not an expert, so
Um,
I'm just like, is that right? I don't know.
no, you're absolutely correct. It's definitely more of, the psychedelic era.
Hmm.
So yes,
Do you have
definitely
any
more.
ideas for or plans for what kind of colors, if any, are going to go on this?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
you've
do.
got it all planned out.
I planned. I planned ahead of time.
She's
I've
like,
been
just
like
you wait.
two months on that thing where I'm like, okay. How am I gonna do this? I
2 months?
cannot.
What?
Well, I've known for a while, so I'm exaggerating. No, I work on the actual poster like only recently, but I've
Hmm.
been thinking a lot about like what am I gonna do and like how to make my life a little easier once I'm on the live chat,
You
so that
know,
yeah.
everybody just claps for Caro because my goodness, this you have put so much prep and so much time into making sure that this is an amazing stream and everybody's loving it. And I just want you to just give yourself a little pat on the back because you did
Thank you.
so much and
Here
it's
you go.
really paying off. So it's so funny
Let's
because
see.
so I have guested on Adobe Live and sometimes I have an idea and sometimes I'm like, we're winging it today. So
Oh
you're just
yes.
like, oh yeah, I'll put 2 months of thought into this and prepare
Yeah.
everything. You're amazing.
It's because it's my first one. You know when it's your first one and you're like, I've got one shot at this.
Yes.
I cannot mess it up. I have to succeed no matter what happens. Or it's like, even if it goes wrong, I don't want to regret it. I wanna be like, I did my best.
Yeah, I'm proud of what I made. Ooh.
Yes. And if you guys don't like it, it's all the same to me, you know? So
Definitely.
yeah. So I'm done tracing. Can you believe this? I thought it would take me so much more time, but we're
Yeah,
gonna
we're
be.
just
Oh,
over an hour into the stream, so you've got time, baby.
oh, perfect. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I actually forgot that little guy here. Um, right. So
By the way, we've
there's
got some new
yeah.
people just coming into the chat
Yay.
saying Sean
Hello, everybody.
saying Sean. Sean is
Yay,
saying
Sean.
hi. Or I, whichever. Jessica T saying, "Hey, love the lettering. Reminds me of the 80s era." That's so funny because we were just talking about which era.
Yes.
And Izzy said, Caro and I talked a lot about this, and she definitely put a lot of prep and thought into this. Oh my gosh, you guys are so cute. I love it.
Yes, I was telling Easy, I don't know, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna do that. What do you think? Oh my god, no, I don't know. That's what's going on in my head for 2 months.
Oh my gosh.
So that's but yeah, it's my boyfriend has been like, all right, I can't wait for this to be over. Uh
Oh my gosh. Well, today after the stream, I mean, we're going to be back tomorrow, just a reminder,
tomorrow.
everybody. So there will be a part 2 of this, but
Yay!
at least after this stream, you got to just give a big high five to yourself and also your boyfriend and be like, ah, it's so much less intense.
Yes,
Hopefully
it's
you'll feel
actually
that way.
yeah, it went okay. You know what? It
Yes.
wasn't so bad. Yes, totally. That's the feeling. Okay, so just to go back to what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna do a little bit of cleanup. Just noticing that there is some element that some element that I actually did not put it in here.
You're freehanding
Uh,
an I was about to say an a-hole. Oh my gosh.
oh
I
my
mean,
god! Yay!
a gap?
An
What do
A.
you call
Yeah.
it?
Yes, we're gonna call it a gap. I like although the a-hole it actually makes sense. It is an a-hole. It's
It's
like, I'm sorry, but
yeah.
technically it is, but it's not correct. You
It's
should not
like,
say that.
oh, look at that beaver dam, like, oh, there's context there, but does it matter?
I don't know. But
Mm.
yes, so it's just a little bit of refinement, like there is. So sometimes I tend to put too many dots or too many anchor points, shall I say? Um, and then I think the thing with lettering as well, just going back into some serious conversation here,
Mhm.
um, is that, like I feel like this one kind of came along better. Just, I don't know, for some reason. First of all, it's flat, so it made things easier. But also, I feel like I have some, um, it's like cohesive, right? Like my lines here are kind of all leveled up. My thick and thin are like pretty much the same across. And like even like the way I did those curves here, they all feel kind of like a similar size. Minus maybe this one is a little bigger than the others, but that's okay. We can fix that.
Mhm.
Um, but then the other thing I would say, and the reason why I'm glad I picked that style of lettering is because it's quite forgiving. So,
Love that.
so that's it doesn't, it's like there are some rules, I guess, but it's like it's not too much rules. So
Well,
it's
you're the one who breaks them, right? The designer gets to
I'm
just be like,
totally, yeah, I'm
ish.
just gonna break that rule. I'll just
Yeah,
do that because it fits my narrative better right now. Thank you very much. Um,
definitely.
But yeah, so see, like I don't like this. There is flatness here that I don't like. Um,
Sorry, the chat is making me crack up. They're hilarious.
ooh, what
They're
are they
like,
saying?
oh, Furtus
Oh.
is like, lol, Adobe moderator's nightmare now. Everybody was just laughing at my little slip up. And Izzy is saying, can there be a montage of Adobe Live bloopers? It would be hilarious, and this would definitely make the cut.
Oh, that's making the cut. I hope so.
I
I
would
want it to be
love
there.
a blooper reel. I feel like there are so many great moments that are just like, oh, just clip it. Just a little clip of that would be amazing.
Yes. Can we put that in the Christmas special? It should be in there.
I'm into it. Yes. I'll get Ryan on it right now. He'll just watch countless hours of footage and pick out the best bits.
Yes. That sounds like a great thing to do. I'm
Mm,
like, do that. Just do that. Just
we
watch,
should
watch,
have
watch.
different playlists where it's like this one's funny and this one's like actual good advice and here's like tips ones.
Yes, and these are the disastrous one. No, no, I'm joking.
The worst moments of Adobe
The
Live.
worst moment of Adobe Live.
It's
Let's
the
promote
most watched
that.
playlist. Yeah.
Yes, let's just promote it.
Oh, I love it. Oh, Sean
So
says,
yeah,
I think I'll do a chat bloopers reel for my 200th stream. Oh my gosh, Sean, that would be amazing. I love it.
200 stream.
I mean, Sean's prolific. I'm not surprised, honestly. This is Sean Cosell,
Mm-hmm.
by the way. Everybody should follow. And Sean
Everybody,
says,
go for it.
revenge. Revenge on your chat? Is that what we're doing?
Revenge, revenge.
Yeah,
Um,
sometimes you just need
yeah.
it. Speaking
So
of which,
yes.
actually, oh, sorry.
Mhm.
Do you have a tip you want to say?
Oh no, 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 no. Go ahead, go ahead.
I was just going to mention that I saw some streams on your channel, your Behance page.
Oh
So,
yeah.
are you into streaming? Do you like to do it?
I tried at some point because I wasn't working for a little while, so I was like, oh, I try that. And it was okay, but like I was in an apartment with very poor internet connection, and
Mm-hmm.
it ended up being very challenging to actually make it work properly. And I was so goofy. Like the first one, the first video, I totally failed. I did not arrange my program properly. I don't exactly know what happened, but every time I was trying to share my screen, like it was just super weird. But then the second one, I made work better, and then like only one person joined, and I was like, oh my god, one person joined! Thank you. I was like, this is good. I'll take it. It was the first
Yes.
one. Yes. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. But then I was also like, when you have that little syndrome of like, who am I here to like give people this information? Like, I don't know much better than them what I'm doing. So,
Ugh, imposter
um,
syndrome strikes.
yes, yes, there you go. It was just right there with me, sneaking around the whole time. Um, but yeah, so I was just I tried it and it was fun, and I probably will end up doing it more as the time goes by.
We would love to
Um,
see you here.
Yay! Thank you.
Of course, and always I love having people back on Adobe Live as well, as long as you enjoy it and also just streaming on your own channel, I feel like, at least from my experience, I have done that quite a bit. It's such a great community builder and makes people understand that your work is connected to you as a person, rather than just, sometimes an online presence. If you just see a person's work and never their face, then you're like, I don't know who you
Yeah.
are, or like,
Yes.
I can't connect
That's
it to you
very
when I see you
true.
at Adobe Max, that kind of stuff. So,
Yes, you're totally right. I mean, that is very, very true, you know. It's easy to hide yourself like behind, Instagram and like all that stuff, but it's true it doesn't always get the personality through, right? Like if people don't really understand who you are and like how you get to where you're at. And I feel like I'm not the best one to tell my story sometimes. I'm like, yeah, my story's all right, but like, is it better than anybody else? I'm not so sure. It's
you
just
have to
not.
be the absolute best to be valid at all.
Yes, exactly. And I'm like, I'm so harsh on myself all the time anyway. So I'm like, oh, well,
Oh.
yeah, like any artist, I feel like we're all a bit like,
I get it, but I always feel so sad when it's like you don't deserve that kind of self-talk. You deserve better than that. Come on. And
no,
also
it's
the
true.
idea that like I don't know if somebody was technically like the best at a thing, which is unknowable, then would they finally feel it, or would they also feel like they're not the best? It's just
Yeah,
impossible.
absolutely. I think for me, it's just I want to reach a level of comfort where I'm like, okay, like, that doesn't suck. Yeah, I see.
I understand that. Yeah.
You know that feeling. But then it's so subjective to yourself, right? As you said, it's like it's very subjective as a feeling. So yeah, so who knows, it depends on like where you put the bar for
Well,
yourself.
I would argue that you going freelance was a huge step in feeling like you are so prolific and amazing and like proficient, I should say, at what you do,
Thank
that
you.
you are being hired by people who are just like blown away by your work, and they know that your work is going to make whatever they say stand out. So
Yeah,
just knowing that, I hope that you feel it like you are wanted by an industry that is very picky. And
true.
also that you can like make enough money to survive off of is a huge marker, I'd say, in an artist
That's
journey.
true. That's true. No, yes, of course. I'm like very grateful, don't get me wrong. And I'm
Mhm.
like very happy to do what I do. And I just, if I can make everything look pretty, that's, and make people happy with what I do, that's the goal ultimately. So
Well, we love what you do, so goal
thank
achieved.
you. Yay.
Also, by the way, Sean is at 197 streams, which is just like, whoa, claps for
Whoa.
Sean.
Oh, yay.
And Sam is saying there's definitely a bit of a learning curve to get everything set up in the beginning of streaming. But once you have OBS set up, it's not too bad. And I totally agree with that. Once the technical stuff is out of the way, it's basically just click and run, and you can focus on
Yes.
just doing the work, which is
Just
fun.
doing the work. Yeah. No, that's correct. Yes, that's this software I was using, the one you just mentioned. OBS,
OBS,
OBS. That's
yeah.
that's right. And it was just disastrous. I was like, oh, let me try this button and like, and how do I play music on my stream? And I was just, I don't have the right cable. Damn it. And then there was so
Totally.
there was so many little things. I was just like, all right, whatever. Um,
Too much.
too
Totally.
much right now, too much. But no, but it was fun in the end, like, and then that one person showed up at my stream and I was like, oh my God, thank you for being here. You're the
Well,
best.
back in the day, Adobe, when we did Adobe Live, it would be in person and like at a table where everything was set up for you, and all of the tech stuff literally had, I mean, Paco was there, like in person, running everything. So if there was a
Wow.
problem, you'd just be like, hey Paco, can you fix it? And he's right there to do it. And it was so amazing to feel like everything was not only a really high production value, but also just that other people are there with you. Like everybody in the background of this production, Paco is actually working right now. Claps for Paco. Woo.
Yeah, class for Paco.
But also
Woohoo.
just the idea of like being in person, I love that so much, and it also takes care of all of the production kerfuffles that can happen along the way. And we're also lucky to have it, what do you call this? Remotely.
Yes,
Because yeah, all we have to do is pop into Zoom. How lovely is that?
I know, right? I mean, I think we have the pandemic to thank for that. So Thank you, pandemic.
Hesitantly, like
It has its good side, I suppose.
there are definitely silver linings if we can just
Uh,
look for them.
yes, you have to, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, I just wish Paco was in my living room right now. It's like, hey, Paco, like, don't go too far. Stay here, like, please, just in case
Could you
something
just
happened.
run my personal streams all the time? Yeah, that'd be great.
Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's see where we're at. So one thing that I wanted to also show you guys, oops, I have a hair on my tablet. Okay. One thing I wanted to show you, one tool that you can use actually that's pretty cool as well when you're doing lettering. And it will work for some type of letterings, but it won't work for all of them. But I think, you know, it's good to show that the pencil tool is actually a tool that you can use to do some cool stuff. So the pencil tool is right here. And when you double click on it, you have your pencil tool options. And then you have, you know, it goes from accurate to smooth. So if you go accurate, you know, your whatever you draw is going to be pretty much what you draw, right? It's going to be very close to all of the point that you're adding. But if you go smooth, it's going to do everything. So it's going to remove the amount of points because it's going to smooth everything as you know, as the name said it. So, you know, it's a great tool. And then basically what you can do is, so I like to use usually in the middle or just after accurate here. But let's say like here, for instance, I feel like, okay, my end, the round piece here aren't like super great. If you actually select from one point to another, you can actually just change the shape here and make them the way you like.
Oh,
So
that's fascinating. Oh.
yeah, so that's actually, you know, like it's a pretty cool little tool that you can use, and do stuff with it, and just apply some magic,
We love
or
magic.
not. Yes. So it's a nice, neat little trick sometimes, and you know, you like I'm doing this for this specifically, but I mean it can be done for. So you have to make sure that you go from one point to the other, but it can create some cool stuff. So there you go. It's just a tip.
Absolutely. That's an amazing tip because I feel like working with one tool is one thing, but being able to kind of edit it in that little bit more, what would you call that? Like tactile way because you're using your hand to draw it rather than like
Yes.
pulling.
Yes, exactly.
It
And so
really
that can be
helps, I'd
nice.
say.
Yeah. And you can also, what you can do is just, you know, take any type that you want, that you have on your, whatever type that you want to use, you know, like let's say, I don't know, let's take this one, or maybe not. I don't know. Sorry, this one. This is the club type. And I go in type and I go in create outline. And then let's say you want to give this type like a more like handmade feeling, you can just go in there and you know, apply like the same principle, you know, and start playing with your letters and give them different shapes. And you know, you have a starting point. I mean, I'm doing something bad here, but it's just to show that it can be applied to, you know,
I
also just
love
regular
that.
type. Yeah.
I
So
feel like, I don't know, that's very applicable when you're making little like wonky, I want it to
yeah,
have some character kind of things happen.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's what you can do with that tool. Okay, so let's just say that this one is done for now. I'm sure there will be more that I want to do. So, okay, so let me just read that. It's Justine Carter and Eamon Harkin. And these guys are the DJs that created Mr. Sunday. And
Nice.
so Mr. Sunday was created like years ago, and it was already existing when I was here. And they actually were everywhere. They were they were actually in the Gowanus Canal. Like if you're not familiar with New York, it's like whatever, but So they've changed location many times, and it was always this kind of location with trees, and they were in Industry City for a while, and then eventually they opened their own their own place that's called Nowhere Days it's technically in Queens. It's at the border of Queens and Brooklyn. And so they have this outdoor space and they have the indoor space as well. So the outdoor space is where they have the Mr. Sunday event that happen every Sunday during summer. And it's really cool. You have like hammock, you have like truck food, and you have tables, you can just chill. And then you have the DJ set, and you can go and dance on the dance floor. And like the one rules there that you cannot use your phone on the dance floor, because if you're on the dance floor, you have to dance. So, and I like that. I'm like, you have to be dancing. You shouldn't be on your phone. So,
True.
But yeah, so anyway, and then they have the indoor space as well. And the indoor space is more like, they have like Mr. Saturday Night as well. And they have those Saturday night parties as well, which are like pretty dope. But anyway, yes, and I am actually not working for Mr. Sunday. I promise you, this is not promotion. I just like them. I just like them very much.
Okay, so this is like your fan art for them.
Totally. It's my fan art for them. Exactly.
Have you ever shown them your work and be like, hey, I can make stuff for you?
No, actually, you know what? I haven't, because I've never really did anything for them until now. And, but you know, it's my way to say thank you for all the fun that they provide us every year with like some pretty dope ass like music.
Wait, you just did something that like curled the C in? What was that?
Oh, I don't know. Did I do something?
You did something. I was like, wait, is that a tool? But
oh no. Probably
it was
not.
just changing one of the points.
Yeah, I probably was just changing a point. And then it's like these things says parties rain or shine, because even if it's raining, like the party will be on. Oh yeah. But it's so hot in New York during summer anyway that it's like whatever, it's fine.
Oh, definitely. And you said that this was from May to October, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So this will be their next year's poster to advertise.
Yeah. You know, I actually received something from them recently, and I think they're doing Mr. Saturday as well now. Sorry, Mr. Sunday as well, but like in the indoor space from 5 to 11. I was like, oh, they're doing that now indoor as well. That's, you know, that's cool. And so I'll have to go check it out. It's
Definitely.
on my to-do list. Yeah. But this one is for this one is for the summer one, because the summer one is outdoor and it's like super, super fun.
Rain or shine, you're dancing on the dance floor.
You're dancing on the dance floor. That's all. Yeah, but it's super inclusive, you know. It's like it is a great atmosphere. And the fact that they've been able to like keep it going for all that time, right? Because as I said, like it's been a while. They must be doing something right.
Absolutely. Right, so. I think that is something that's very unique with New York also, is just like when there is that sense of community, it seems like the community shows up and they're like, I am going to be actively into this. And especially things that are long running and everybody knows about. That is just classic New York neighborhood kind of gathering and stuff you see in movies.
Yeah, people here, they show up and they commit, you know, like New Yorkers commit for sure.
Definitely.
Yes.
By the way, Furtis had to go, but said, thank you so much, Anna and Caro, for making this stream so wonderful to watch so far. I'm bummed I can't stay. Hope you have a great rest of stream. Catch you both tomorrow. So we'll have Furtis back.
Sounds good. Thanks for that. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate the support.
Absolutely. I love that your friends have shown up. And also one of my friends, Kendall, is in the chat. What's up? How are you, Kendall?
What's up, Kendall?
Another regular of Behance. Thank you for being here. We've also got Raphael over on YouTube. Hello. How are you doing? And Anthony Jackson in the chat saying, have you created fan art before? Sorry if this question was already answered. I don't believe so. I said that this could be fan art for Mr. Sunday, but have you ever created fan art for anything in general?
Not really, you know, so what I was trying to, I don't know if it's not fan art. I was creating posters for like cities that I visited in the US that I really liked, you know, but it's not really fan art. I wouldn't say that I've done that much.
Well, what cities have you visited? Now we're all curious.
There was Austin that I enjoyed being there. Like I thought it was a nice city. I mean, I don't know about living there, but to visit it was nice.
Totally. Yeah.
There was Seattle that I really liked for some reason. Like I didn't think I would like Seattle. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I just, it's like those preconceived ideas
For sure.
of something. And then I was like, oh no, it's actually pretty cool.
Lower expectations, and then you're like blown out of the water.
Yeah. I really liked it in the end. I was like, oh no, that's a great city. Palm Spring, I adore Palm Spring. I think the architecture there is like definitely what made me like it.
Nice.
Because like when you say that, I feel in America people think like golf court and like retirement stuff, but I'm like, for me it was like all those like what do you call it, mid-century houses, like architecture stuff.
For sure.
Like Elvis Presley, and like all this like era of Hollywood, Marilyn Monroe. And I was just like, I wanted to see all the houses. I wanted to get in all of the houses. I was like, I'm entering this house. Even if I get
let me in. I gotta see the architecture.
even if I get arrested, I don't care. I'm going in.
Just find Caroline over in Palm Springs breaking into houses. Classic.
Yes. It was Bob Hope house was there or whatever. Like, like it was just, I don't know. I just really liked it. I liked the vibe. So yeah, there was doing one for that as well. And I had a whole list of cities that I wanted to do, but unfortunately I just didn't really get around to doing all of them. But maybe one day.
The idea alone is just really cool because if you've traveled, you know how distinct and unique every place is, and it feels like something sometimes just is begging to be created about it. Why don't you create about it?
Totally. And the thing is also, when I moved here, I wasn't sure for how long I was going to be in the States. So I was like, all right, I don't know. I just really need to like see as much as I can in the time I'm given, so that I can say, like I can really get a sense of like what's going on. So I traveled quite a lot when I moved here originally, and then I chilled because I had no money. But
that's what happened, and you're like, yeah, New York, that sounds like a place to save money.
yeah, it's exactly that perfect place for like saving money here.
Just a heads up, we have about 20 minutes left in the stream today, but we're going to be back tomorrow. Very excited about that. What do we have in store for tomorrow?
Oh, there's more of a retro poster tomorrow that we're going to do. It will be less lettering work, but it will still be vector art, and it will be, well, I can't give it away, but it will be an like MTA, because famously everybody loves the MTA in New York. The subway, it's a subway poster that we're going to do. It's going to be a very long horizontal poster. And it's going to be a little retro style as well. Okay, so we don't have that much time left. So I'm just going to power through trying and finish that up so that, we can see a little bit of what's going on.
Excellent.
Well, actually,
and if people want to see this after you finished it, is there a place that you want to point them to?
Yeah, it would probably end up being like on my Insta, and I'll end up putting it on my Behance as well at some point. So
yeah, take your time. Go
and check that out.
People just have loved watching the process of it. So if there's something more to see, I'm sure they want to see it.
Sounds good. So
sorry. I was going to say that Rin said that she has to head out, but it was lovely seeing us all, and also lovely meeting you, Caroline. Love your work, and I will catch the stream later and look forward to seeing how this poster turns out.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for showing up. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and there's more love for you that I haven't even read in the chat, so just know the chat's here for you.
Thank you for all the love, you guys. I will take all the love I can get. So here I'm just trying to create a sun. Sorta.
That was super fast. You just made a circle and then cut it in half?
Yeah, just made the circle, cut it, put it the line here. There's many ways you can do that, but that's how I did it.
Nice.
It's kind of help when I have all my lines already like traced up, It sounds easier. This doesn't have to be perfect because it's gonna be under the sun.
It already looks perfect.
Oh, well.
I'm amazed by your sketch. It was just like so ready to go.
It was ready to go. I was like, okay, now no surprises. I don't like surprises.
How many iterations did you get through before finding this design?
Like, I don't know, 6 or 7. Wasn't even that bad, you know. But in the end, at some point, you kind of have to just move forward, right? Like I couldn't spend. I already had spent a lot of time just thinking about what am I going to do. Oops, what am I going to do? And at some point, I was like, okay, that will do. It will look. It will look fine. So I'm just creating my little like clouds here by just doing that.
I love the little poof.
And then I'm just gonna do how am I gonna do this actually? Yeah, I think well, yeah, I think that will work. Actually no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna color it in. I'm just gonna trace a line here. And then I'm gonna
cloud.
Yes, I'm gonna divide. I'm gonna ungroup. I'm gonna remove. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. My bad.
It happens to all of us.
Yes.
Oh, so clean.
And here we go.
Nice.
And then I'm gonna make it and I'm gonna unite it, and we have, you know, a cute little cloud.
Cute. I love that. It's so satisfying to watch.
And then we're just gonna have some nice little
black stars. Oh, they already have a star shape pre-made.
Yes, yes, that's the beauty of Adobe.
Woohoo.
They just make it very easy for you. Star tool.
Yeah, they know what shapes you want.
They know, and then you can minus add, so you can have a rectangle. You can have like.
Oh, that is cool. Wait, where is that?
That's just your. So it's just like when you create. Oops. Actually, well, nah, it's like that. But when you create that shape,
yeah,
you just use your arrow, the arrow on the keyboard, and then you can add, you know, as many stuff as you want.
That is so cool.
But I think there are other ways to do it. I think if you like, isn't there other way to do this? I'm sure there is.
There's always another way. It's an endless.
There's always
thing.
Yeah.
Every single one of the programs, it's like, oh yeah, 10 different ways.
So many ways to do this.
Thank you for showing me that. I was just curious.
Yeah, of course. I mean, no worries. And then we're just gonna duplicate these babies.
Oh, Kendall says she's wrangling a contract today. Why does legal speak have to be so hard to understand? I agree.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah. Did you have to learn stuff like that? Well, you went to business school basically, so like you probably know a little bit more about it than the average artist.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I learned it, especially when I was working as a project manager, because when you are a project manager, you deal with a lot of requirements and like, you know, stuff on the contract that's you're supposed to honor, right? And if it's not honored, then you have to go back to the contract and be like, oh, you know. So there is a lot of like requirement document that you put together, and then you have to make sure that you know you're covered with all that stuff. So like I know some of it, but I have zero enjoyment in doing that stuff.
Definitely. It's the drudge, but you have to do it.
Yeah, you have to do it.
Well, especially with freelance, I feel like that's when you have to get all the books and be like, all right, what am I worth? How do I make it happen?
Absolutely. So I'm just gonna create these little shapes here. Sorry, I feel like now I'm just like rushing into trying to get to some place where we can add colors.
Well, this is already looking beautiful. I like it as a black and white, honestly.
So for nowadays, I'm just gonna use type for that.
Nice, yeah.
And it's called, I don't know if I have it here because I used it recently. No, it doesn't show. Alternate this one. Make it a lot bigger.
Z says, this is shaping up nicely, and I have to believe that it's a pun because you're putting in the shapes.
Ha 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 ha. Yes, it is. Okay, and here there will be another cloud. I'll add it later, and then we'll add the logo here. So, okay, it's coming up together like so. I'm just gonna add my type back in. And then I'm gonna
This is such a clever design. Great job.
In there. Ew. And then we're gonna be bringing these guys over. So one thing that I ended up doing actually in my original poster is that I didn't like this eye in the end. So
oh, interesting.
Yeah, I actually didn't like it. I just thought it looked weird. So oops, hold on. What am I doing? Not the right thing. I was just gonna something. I'm trying to do something. I'm attending something, but it's not working the way we want it to. So I'm just gonna kind of close it out like that, and then I'm gonna select it, and I'm just gonna use my Pathfinder, my Savior, and then it just bring it all together. But then of course it creates some points that you don't want to have, so you can clean those out. And now it's looking a little bit too fat, I think, compared to the others. Okay, so anywho,
if you were to name this typeface, do you have any name in mind?
Oh my god, not really.
Not to put more on your plate, but I was just curious if there was something where it was like, oh yeah, named it.
Something like the madness is on or something.
Ooh, I like it.
No, it's silly. It's just because I feel like, I went through like a lot of hard work for this, so like let's just call it like madness.
It's your madness incarnate. Look at it. Go mad.
It's just madness. Okay, so I'm just gonna group these guys, and then I'm gonna group
Paloma is popping into the chat saying, hi everyone, this poster is looking good and I love the typeface. It's madness.
Thank you. It's madness. Thank you. I appreciate the shout out to my type name. Okay, so what I want to do for this then is just create, and I'm sure most of you know that trick, where we're going to create a shape that looks like, I'm kind of eyeballing it, which is not good, but you shouldn't be eyeballing it.
But it's like editable, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can edit it. There you go.
I just like that I'm eyeballing it, which is not good. I'm sure it's amazing.
But I will do it anyway.
Yeah,
yeah, and then I go in object, envelope distort, make with top object, and it's just gonna do that. Yay!
Nice.
And
looking good, mister.
So what I can do also, actually, I'm gonna undo what I did. I'm gonna make this a little slimmer. There you go. And then I'm just still gonna use, well, actually, I can just copy this shape, put it here, bring this part here.
Ooh. Love it.
Let's see. Here, that's fine. Here, that's fine. Okay. So now I'm gonna do that again. Here. Here.
Boom. And you're going. What is that?
So here
at the top? What menu were you in to do that?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was in object, envelope distort, and then you make with top object.
Nice.
So it will, yeah. So it's the lazy way of doing everything else I did here, where I actually went and like hand drawn it. But that's the lazy way of doing it. I don't know if it's lazy, but anyway, it's just made my life a little easier. It's a shortcut. Yeah, exactly.
I love shortcuts, so no shame.
Perfect. Sounds good. Okay, and then I'm gonna do this.
We have about 7 minutes left today, but we are going
only 7.
Only 7. Oh, no pressure. You do not have to finish right now. It's all good. But also, we are going to be back tomorrow with a new illustration. It's all about the New York Underground. We're gonna have a big long poster. Very exciting.
Yes, exactly. So I'm trying to color these bad boys here, but I don't want to color this. Okay.
Color them bad boys.
um, so here I have to do my little trick. Otherwise it doesn't make sense. So that's it with this guy.
So you said you had ideas or an idea in mind for the colors of this guy. What kind of
Yes.
color palette are you going for in general?
Okay, so for the color, I actually had something prepared, but I was a little too long to do the stuff. These are all the color groups. I was gonna do a two color group, like two colors for the poster, and mainly one that goes in the background and one that goes in the foreground. That was the idea. But yeah, I saved it all into my CC library.
Ooh, nice.
And so it's, so it's there.
Yeah, handy dandy.
And yes, so that was the whole point. I would love to be able to show you that before we are done here, but we'll see what happens.
We've got a Thacio is saying Caroline
Oh,
rocks.
it's my boyfriend.
Oh, no way. Oh, we love to
Yeah.
see him. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Did I say his name correctly?
It's Tasio.
Thacio. Okay, excellent.
Yes.
Welcome, Thacio. Thank you for being
Yes.
here.
Thank you
I
for being
love seeing
here.
partners, friends, and I love when moms are in the chat. There's just something special about that.
Yes, that's correct. My mom, I gave my mom the link, but I don't know if
Mom's
she showed
lurking.
up. Yeah, I'm not
She
sure
may
she
have.
showed up. So then here I'm just going to make this like that. And yeah, and then we have the background. So let me just wait, okay. Let me do the background. We have a lot of black right now, so much black.
Well, you filled all the pixels or the whole canvas with black, so you're done. That's
That's it.
the
We're
final
done.
stage of an illustration is just black.
That's it. So we're gonna color that. So see, like that start to like bring a life into things a little better.
For sure.
And then I had like other things that I wanted to show you guys, but here I'm gonna do a Command X, and then I'm gonna do Command F. So that's paste in front, which is a handy little tool as well. And all these guys, minus these guys, are gonna be green. Ah!
Ooh. I love little accidents like that that are so cute. You never know. Sometimes they're happy accidents.
This wasn't meant to be. And this here, we don't want them to have the lines. And then I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to try to select everything. And this one. Actually, I probably should group that.
These are wonderful colors, by the way. Love it.
Thanks. And this, oh, okay. There was one element I did not put in here, which I should have, but I did not.
How dare.
I know. It's just, everything is ready to go, but you still miss some stuff.
Always.
Oh.
That's the rule, is you don't get everything. Not the way you want to.
And I'm going to group this. So here I was supposed to be having another layer right here.
Oh, like a background shape behind it?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
The shapes are so strong in this piece. I feel like if I were passing it, I couldn't help but look at it just because of like how strong everything is. It's zeroing your eyes in.
So that's going, thank you. That's going in the back. And then this is actually going to be orange.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like that.
And then this is going to shift, reflect. Okay. Oops.
It almost feels like a field where the letters are like little pumpkins on it or something.
Yeah. That's because of, it's because of the color as well that I picked here.
Totally.
We don't want this, we don't want this. And this is
Oh, Annika just popped in the chat, also an Adobe regular. Hello, Annika, saying
Hey,
hi to
hi, what's
everybody.
up?
Also, Sam says, "Ha, my mom always wants to know when I'm streaming." And do you let her know, Sam? Does she pop in? And Izzy says the design directs the eye very well. And we're just about at time here. We're going
Okay.
to wrap up in a few, or just like a minute. But I love seeing the direction that this is going with the color and everything. And just a reminder that when this is all finished, however you want to finish it, and whatever time you
Mm-hmm.
want, don't worry, no pressure. That you can find this on Caroline's Instagram and Behance page. So definitely follow her
Yay.
if you want to follow along.
Yes.
And we're going to be back tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Pacific for part 2. Join us as
Yes.
Caroline will be creating a horizontal poster of a scene that you will see on public transportation using Illustrator. Very
Thank
excited
you
for
so
that.
much, everybody. Thank you for your patience through my sketching and all of that. I appreciate this. And I'll actually show you the final piece tomorrow so you can see like the end of it.
Hey, that's incentive. Come on back. Same time, same place. And also, thank you so much, Caroline. This was such a treat to see. Not
Yes.
only like there was a whole slideshow at the beginning. If you missed the first half of this stream, you will get to know Caroline and all of her work. It's absolutely beautiful. And
Thank you.
also all of the inspiration for this piece, the different design elements that went into it, your sketches. So great to have all of that behind just like making the piece. We got to see basically from its birth to its finish. So thank you for that.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks, Anna, for being here, chatting with me. Really appreciate that. Thank you, everyone that showed up. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, thank you guys in the chat for being so wonderful. You guys have just added to the conversation every time, so thank you for that. Also, stick around for the Illustrator Creative Challenges with Jack Watson, the one, the only. Also saw Jack in the chat earlier. Whoop, whoop. And immediately following that, the Creative Challenge, we're going to join video editor Josh Olafemi as he joins you to... as he joins you, as he shows you how to make a YouTube tutorial in Premiere Pro, which we all need.
Nice. Oh, yes.
So thank you
That's
for being
handy.
here.
Thank
And
you, guys.
we will see you again tomorrow. Same time, same
Yes,
place.
absolutely. We'll be there. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.